What's good, everyone? Giant Opinions, Part 3. 5 more players I think will get traded at the deadline, and I'm also going to tell you guys my favorite fit for these players. So, which team should go acquire them? The first player is JD Martinez from the Red Sox. Listen, the Red Sox are going to sell at the deadline. They do not have a good enough team right now. Granted, a lot of their starting pitching is injured, but they're still a bad team. They're not going to emerge victorious from the American League. So you might as well sell some of the players you have. And JD Martinez, he has 1 year left on his deal. He's a free agent after the season. He's going to get traded off. And he's always been one of the best pure hitters in baseball, which I think makes him a very valuable piece that a team will want to go get him at the deadline. So he is a 302 batting average this season with 9 home runs, 96 hits, almost 100, 38 RBIs, and an OPS of 849. He's a designated hitter. I do not think a team should go put him in the outfield, but if they do, they do. My favorite team to trade for JD Martinez is the Milwaukee Brewers. I think they need a true DH since Rowdy Tellez is playing first base. Renfroe is playing the outfield. They have been using Luis Urias as kind of a designated hitter with McCutchen, but I think McCutchen can still play the outfield. Why not move McCutchen to the outfield and center field where there's some question marks and then put JD Martinez as the designated hitter? I think he would really help that Brewers team that needs to hit for maybe a little bit more average. I think they draw a lot of walks, but they also don't hit for high average. JD Martinez could definitely help that team and really spark the Brewers offense because the offense is the question in Milwaukee, and it always has been. So I think the Brewers, they have a good shot of winning something serious this season. Go make a move for JD Martinez, one of the better pure hitters in baseball. I have the Mets listed as a potential option too. We don't know, even though they've traded for Daniel Vogelback, and maybe that's a little bit more out of the question. But the Brewers are definitely my favorite team. Second player I have is Wilmer Flores. I'm a Giants fan. The Giants are selling at the deadline. We are terrible. And Wilmer Flores, he's a quality infielder that can play at pretty much every position. Third base, first base, second base. I don't know if you want to throw him at shortstop, but you really could worst case scenario. He's a free agent after this season. And this season, he has 13 home runs with 51 RBIs, so he's cashing in runs in big situations. A 248 batting average, an on-base percentage of 331, and an OPS of 764. So not bad at all for a utility infielder that you really want him in there for the bat. He will take walks. Now, his OPS is not above 800 or anything, but he's a quality hitter. He doesn't strike out a ton at all, and he has that versatility, which gives him some value for sure. A veteran in the league. So some teams I have that could be interested, I actually have the New York Mets as one of my teams. I think a Wilmer Flores New York reunion could be in the makings, man. Honestly, with Eduardo Escobar having some up and down struggles, with Guillorme kind of cooling down a lot lately, the Mets want some better bats, and Wilmer Flores can definitely provide that, and he could play all over the infield too. So, say there were to be an injury, he could step right in. He could be the DH. It could be a low-risk move for the New York Mets. I also really like the Atlanta Braves. I think the Braves are probably my favorite team to go trade for Wilmer Flores because of the injury to Ozzie Albies. Second base is kind of a question mark. They have Robinson Cano playing there right now. Absolutely not. You can upgrade. I think Wilmer Flores is definitely an upgrade. While maybe not so defensively, with the bat, definitely he could be a lot better than Robinson Cano and help the Braves that have really big goals of winning not only the NL East, but also repeating as the World Series champions. So I think he'd really step in and help that offense too. Out in Atlanta, I think it would be a scary team if they went and traded for him. And Alex Anthopoulos is not scared to go trade and make moves. He did it last season with Jock Peterson and Eddie Rosario. So watch the Braves. I think this really has a good shot of happening. I have the Brewers too. Like I said, second base is kind of up in question for them since Hira has not been that player. So the Brewers are a potential option. I think he would definitely help their offense too. Now, how much more would it help them to go get Wilmer Flores and JD Martinez? I'd just go for JD if I was them, which is why I have the Braves as my favorite fit. And also you have the Philadelphia Phillies. They have some lineup inconsistencies, definitely towards the back end of the order. It gets really ugly. Bryson Stott's batting under 200, even though I do like him. So I think they could definitely use another bat. And he's low risk, so the Phillies could take a flyer on him. The third player I have is Noah Syndergaard. Listen, Noah Syndergaard, I thought he was done for in the league, but he signed with the Angels, and he is not the biggest problem on that Angels team. Granted, he does have a 4 ERA when I did take these statistics, but he's a free agent after the season. He's pitched solid out in Los Angeles. his stats, I mentioned his ERA already, but he has pitched in 74 innings pitched and has 58 strikeouts. So the strikeout numbers are not what we want to see from Syndergaard, but that doesn't really matter. His whip is 1.197, and he's quality. Listen, some of his starts have been inflated by some really bad ones, or his overall numbers have been inflated by some bad starts. So that's kind of why the ERA isn't necessarily there. I'm pretty sure he's given up less hits than innings pitched, though, which is really a good thing. And he hasn't walked as many players this season, which is definitely something that I thought he really needed to fix about his game. That's why he wasn't really good at a certain point in New York. So I like that he's gone ahead and fixed that. He's on a 1-year deal, so it will be a rental option, and he's still got some quality stuff, man. Syndergaard's got some good pitches. The fastball, the sinker, obviously. The slider's pretty good. The changeup, the curveball. He's got the 5 pitches. And I think a team that is in the hunt for a playoff spot or wants to upgrade in the rotation, I think they'll make a move for him. So I think my favorite fit, honestly, though, right now, I kind of like the Toronto Blue Jays a lot. The team that originally drafted him, I think they need to upgrade at one of the starter positions because Kikuchi has been a letdown. He's hurt right now. Ryu is out for the year, I'm pretty sure, too. Barrios, you can't really trust him. Take a low flyer on Syndergaard. You might have to give up one quality prospect, but not so much. The other team that I have kind of as a 1A, 1B favorite to go get Syndergaard is the Minnesota Twins, too. Listen, the Twins are not a bad team at all. I think a lot of people are writing them off, and maybe come postseason time, they'll still be the same Minnesota Twins, but I like that team. Their offense is clicking right now. They have guys who hit for average. They have guys who hit for power. But pitching is inconsistent with them. Very inconsistent. They have Joe Ryan. Bundy is being a reliable starter for them, which I don't think is a good idea. Sonny Gray's pitching well, though. Why not add another arm? I think this team, it's not that bad. The Twins are not a bad team at all. Send a message to the clubhouse. Go trade for Syndergaard. You're not going to have to give up your number 3 prospect to go get him. So for the Twins, it's not like you're mortgaging your future, being stupid to try and satisfy the fan base and the players. No. Like, it's going to send a winning message to your locker room, which will boost morale. And he's a quality arm, too. I think he could be a nice 3 starter behind Sonny Gray out in Minnesota. And I think it would bump Dylan Bundy down, which would be a good thing. I still have the Cardinals and the Phillies interested. I think the Phillies are probably the better team to go get him than the Cardinals, who I think the Cardinals might shoot high. So this brings us to the 4th player on the list, which is a relief pitcher. A lot of teams need bullpen help. Scott Barlow from the Royals is definitely one of those guys. He has been very underrated the last few years. I'm pretty sure even last year when I did a trade deadline video last year, I'm almost positive I put him down. So if you want, you can go check that older video out. But Scott Barlow is not a bad relief pitcher at all in Kansas City. Kind of gets... he doesn't get the attention because he plays in Kansas City, a bad baseball team. But this season, he has a 1.93 ERA in 46.2 innings pitched with 33 hits given up and 45 strikeouts. So those are some great numbers. While the strikeouts are not like Aroldis Chapman prime numbers or anything, it doesn't matter. He's getting the job done. He's their closer out in Kansas City, too. He's given up less hits than innings pitched, which is always, always, always a good sign. And the thing about Scott Barlow, what sets him apart is that he has team control. He has arbitration until 2025. The earliest he's a free agent until is 2025. After that season, then he's a free agent. So a team that trades for Barlow will not only be getting immediate bullpen help, they'll be getting help in the long run for the next few years. So it's not just a rental move. This is a trade that would help your team indefinitely in the future. So I think my favorite team right now, I'm going to have to say probably the San Diego Padres. Listen, they have had some bullpen struggles as of late. It looks like they're going to implode in the second half. And the bullpen is part of those issues. Go make a move for Scott Barlow. You've seen it how AJ Preller is not, the Padres GM, is not afraid to go make a move for a guy with some team control on him. Austin Nola was one of those moves at the deadline last year. And the Padres, Taylor Rogers has been blowing it lately. I like Krismat. But other than that, I think the names just start to fall off in the rotation. Tim Hill, or not in the rotation, but in the bullpen. Tim Hill has not been as good. There's another guy that throws a sinker. I forgot his name, but they can upgrade in the bullpen. I think Scott Barlow would be a very nice addition for the San Diego Padres to go make a move. So they're probably my favorite team. I can see the Toronto Blue Jays too. Their bullpen is one of the worst for a contending team with a playoff spot right now. So I think it would be a good move for the Blue Jays, but will they do it because they'll probably have to give up a decent prospect or 2? I'm not sure. I think they might try and shoot a little bit bigger at the deadline. So it might be just because of their own path that they want to take that may be differential from trading for Scott Barlow, if that made any sense. Sorry, that was kind of stupid, but the Yankees are also another team. Now, I'm not sure if the Yankees will do it just because their bullpen is looking bad now because of injuries. But I could still see Cashman being aggressive at the deadline. And if the Yankees went ahead and traded for Scott Barlow, that's not a bad move at all. Their bullpen needs help with Michael King being out, even if it's just for this year. The injury to Michael King and the bullpen being bad, you got to go upgrade it. The Yankees are the best team in baseball record-wise. You shoot, you trade for quality players that will help you try and get that World Series ring. I could definitely see them as an option. The Mets also need bullpen help too. They're in the National League too, so it might make the Royals more open to trading him away there. The Mets traded away a quality relief pitcher for Daniel Vogelbach. While Edwin Diaz is very good, Drew Smith has not looked too good in prime situations. Scott Barlow could be a nice guy, and he'll be there for the next few years. He is not a rental. So I think the Mets could definitely be an interested team too. But the Padres are definitely my favorite team to go get Scott Barlow. I really like that fit out there. The last player, Trey Mancini. This is a weird case because will he get moved at the deadline? He thinks so. I think so. But the Orioles might surprise us and let him stay. Mancini's been a quality player ever since he's been in Baltimore. He's had multiple seasons of 20-plus home runs. I'm pretty sure 3 of them. So he's been quality out there on a bad baseball team for the last few years. But this season, he's a 266 batting average with 9 home runs, 38 RBIs, and a 341 on-base percentage. So it's a little bit of a down year, but you could attribute that to the outfield or to them moving the wall back in left field. It's definitely hurt Orioles hitters. I hate that change, by the way, but that's for another topic. But right now, I think teams would assume that Trey Mancini would be a rental option because he does have a team option for 2023, but it has to be mutually agreed upon by both parties, including Mancini. So if Mancini gets traded at the deadline to whatever team and he does really well, I think I don't think he'd buy into that extra year on the contract because he knows that a team would be willing to spend more money than $10 million a year, which is what his contract right now would have him making. So he might be a rental. And I think the number one team that is going to go trade for him is the New York Mets. Listen, there's a connection there. Buck Showalter, don't forget he was the manager of the Baltimore Orioles when Mancini was on that team. He knows him very well. The Mets are looking to add to their lineup. He's a power option. He hits for quality batting average. He takes some walks. I know they got Vogelbach, but the Mets are shooting high too. The Braves are catching up. You got to go compete. You got to go toe-to-toe. Adding Mancini would definitely help out the Mets, and he has outfield versatility too. Say if there were to be an injury to this New York Mets team. So the Mets are definitely my favorite team to go get Mancini. It's kind of hard though. I can't really think of too many other teams to go trade for him. Realistically, maybe the Tigers is a sleeper, but I don't know. It's a little too weird for me. But those are the 5 players I think will get traded at the MLB trade deadline. So let me know what you all think about this. Love to hear your thoughts about all and any of these players. And as the deadline comes, videos will come. You will see my reactions to hopefully a crazy trade deadline. Hopefully. All the storylines, all the rumors. Hopefully this is not a boring deadline like I think last year was pretty lame. Let's have some fun this season, man. Come on, teams. Shoot for it. I want to make some videos. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on anything and any trades in the future, so make sure to subscribe. Turn on notifications if you want to see what videos I upload as soon as I drop them. And yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.